Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now. Today I'm going to be going over my team selection for game week 8 and any transfers that I'm thinking of making. I think I'm going to take a hit this week and not use my wild card, but I'll get into that. But if you're excited for the video, drop a like down below, leave a comment, what are you doing with your team this week, subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So, starting things off, game week 7 of course didn't happen. Game week rank 1 though, so I will be expecting my FPL mug or whatever you get for being the winner of the game week. So of course we move on to my actual team selection for game week 8. And in goal I do have Edison. I've still got the Man City keeper. I'm obviously going to get rid of him in a wild card. But again, I'm thinking of wild carding next week in game week 9. Because of the international break, I'll go over like why I'm not wildcarding this week, and I'm going to wildcard next week in a minute. But first of all, I'll just go over my team. But yeah, Edison, Wolves away. A lot of people are going to be wildcarding away from double City defense. So if I can get a double City clean sheet away at Wolves, then that's going to really help me this week. I'd feel a little bit better if it was at home at the Etihad instead of at Wolves, but at the same time, Wolves do not look that dangerous going forward. They have just signed Diego Costa, who's only like 5.5 mil by the way, but hopefully he gets a red card in the first few minutes, so I don't have to worry about him. So either way, Edison in goal, away at Wolves, hoping for this is the week I need a double clean sheet from City because of everybody wild carding, free hitting, stuff like that. I feel like this is going to be a bit of a swing in my favor if all goes to plan. But either way, Edison in goal. The back line, Trent obviously not playing. Got Cancelo away at Wolves. Again, need that double City clean sheet. And then Trippier as well at home to Bournemouth. Luckily, I brought Trippier in 2 weeks ago, so I didn't even have to worry about bringing him in this week. He's got quite a couple of price rises. Might even rise again as well. I think he's 5.3 now, so potentially could be 5.4 by the time that Friday rolls around, which is of course when the deadline is this week. So yeah, don't have to worry about that. So that's a nice little bonus. Of course, I've got Trent who's not playing. He would I'll go over my transfers and stuff this week. But that's the back line at the moment. There's not really too much to talk about because obviously I've got barely anyone playing. In midfield, I've got Reed. Yeah, I've got Andreas Pereira, Salah who's not playing, and then Martinelli away at Brentford. So with this midfield, like Pereira, I'm not bothered about playing at all. I'm actually quite content with that. You know, he's on set pieces, corners, etc., and he's playing Forest, who obviously have the worst defense in the league, so I'm honestly fine playing him. Martinelli away at Brentford, you know, I'm obviously going to play out Martinelli. Reed, I mean, he's just a bench option. He's really just in my team because he's playing. You know, he's the king of 2 points. Maybe he scores a wonder goal. He plays so far back, he may as well be in goal, to be fair though, so I'm not expecting anything. 2 points, potentially 3 if Forest don't score. But I mean, I kind of want Forest to win the game because I'm a Forest supporter, so I'd rather Forest win the game than get an extra point on Reed. I mean, if Reed scores a wonder goal, then that's fine. You know, if he decides to just shoot from 40 yards out and it goes into the top bins, I'd be all right with that. But yeah, Reed, I'm not expecting anything from. He's just going to be a 2-pointer, potentially 1 if he picks up a yellow card. He's just there because I have to play him because I just don't have any other options. But yeah, Pereira, I'm fine with. I probably would have played Pereira this week anyway over Dunk because Dunk was always missing this game week. So yeah, I probably would have played him regardless. But then Martinelli away at Brentford. Yeah, I'm obviously fine with playing that. Salah's not playing. But we're moving into my up front. Stansfield, he's on the pitch just simply because he has a fixture. I know he's obviously on loan to Exeter, but he's going to be one of the players I'm obviously going to get rid of this week. But yeah, he's literally just there. We've also got Haaland as well. Wolves away, captaincy this week. I'm just going to always captain Haaland. He's just my set and forget captain. And then Jesus away at Brentford, which again, I'm kind of hoping pops off this week as well. A lot of people will be getting rid of Jesus who are on wildcard this week. So if he does bag a brace or something against Brentford, that's going to be really beneficial for me. The only problem is obviously I have to decide whether I'm going to bring in Mitrovic, who a lot of people are going to be bringing in on wildcard. And as well as that, you've got Tony, Isaac as well, who people are going to be bringing in on wildcard. So that's the only problem. But yeah, Jesus I think can easily score away at Brentford. There's nothing wrong with that fixture. It's an okay fixture. So yeah, if he does score a goal or get a brace or something, then that's going to be really beneficial. So even though my team isn't really going to change this much, a lot this week in terms of players that I'm going to keep, a lot of people are going to be getting rid of them on wildcard. So I do actually have a couple of differentials this week, which is kind of crazy to say because my team has been super template since the start of the season. My bench obviously is Ward, Tottenham away. I have 2 playing keepers this week, which is so annoying because I wish I had an outfield player instead of Ward. I know Ward's only going to get like 1 point this week, if that, but either way. And I've got Dunk not playing, James not playing, and then Luis Diaz not playing as well. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players not playing this week. So with 2 free transfers, because I do have 2 free transfers, and a hit, I can field a full 11. Obviously, one of them is going to be Reed, so that's only going to be like 2 points. But at the same time, that's not too bad. I think it's not worth playing the wild card if I can field 11 players with a -4. And the thing is, because of how the situation is this week, a -4 isn't a -4, it's a -2. Because if let's say I transfer out Stansfield, I transfer out Salah, and then I transfer out Trent. Trent as my -4, Trent wouldn't have played anyway. I would have only had 10 players, so that would have been 0 points regardless. Whereas if I bring in a defender who plays, and they get like a clean sheet, that's obviously going to be a bonus. But if they don't play, if they play and they just concede 1 and they get 2 points, that would only be like a -2 regardless. So I think that's kind of a little bit more okay to take a couple of hits this week. I personally don't like the idea of taking like a -8, even though it would only be a -4 technically. I think if you're taking -8, -12, wildcard might be the option, but I think if you can field like 10 or 11 players with just a -4, I don't think it's really worth wildcarding. And again, a lot of people are going to say, well, if you're going to wildcard this week, next week, why don't you just wildcard this week? But we've also got the international break to think about, and I don't want to wildcard this week, bring in a bunch of players, and then 2 or 3 of those get injured on international break, and then it's just like, great, I have to take hits to get rid of them. So I think it's just, for a -2, I think I like the idea of having the safety net of the wildcard in case any players get injured. And plus, I don't mind like having my Arsenal players. Like, a lot of people are going to be transferring out Arsenal this week because of the fixtures they've got coming up. So I like Martinelli and Jesus as differentials. I like double City defense as a differential. I've got 3 transfers technically to bring in a bunch of differentials that could really help me out this game week. And I'm going to go over those plans in a minute. So I don't think it's necessarily a problem for my team just taking a hit this week. And then again, I get to save my wild card for next week. I have the luxury of making a bunch of transfers over the international break, maybe to attack price rises, and again, to keep on like injuries and stuff like that. So if a player that I do bring in gets injured, I can just transfer him straight out. And that's the luxury of having a wild card over an international break. And I just think for a -2, it's a little bit better of an option. I mean, I know it's a -4, but again, it's going to be a -2 because obviously that player is going to play. So in my head, it's a -2. But either way, let's go over my transfer plan for game week 8. And I've got 0.4 in the bank. But this week, I'm going to be getting rid of the absolute spine of my team, which is Stansfield, Trent, and Salah. I'm obviously going to get rid of Salah this week because he's not playing and he's the most expensive player, so I can get more funds to bring in whoever I want. Trent also one of the most expensive players as well in my team, so I can get rid of him for whoever I want. And if I want to bring them back in, I'll just wildcard them all back in next week. And then I'm obviously going to get Stansfield because I either want to bring in like Mitrovic or Tony or Isaac or Kane. The striker options, honestly, I have to get it right because there's so many options. So let's talk strikers first. So this is basically going to be like a 1-week punt. Unless it like if I bring in Mitrovic, that's not going to be because obviously I want to keep him for a bit. But if I want to bring in someone like Kane, for example, he's got Leicester at home this week. Leicester are abysmal. Kane loves playing Leicester as well. His track record against Leicester is actually really, really good. And so I could bring in Kane this week. I have the funds for it because obviously I'm selling Salah. And so my upfront this week could be Jesus, Kane, and Haaland, which I really, really like. And again, I do have 2 free transfers this week as well, so I can do 2 transfers without even worrying about like point deductions or anything like that. I could just do 2 transfers this week and field 10 players and not take a -4, but I don't know. I kind of want to be a little bit more adventurous with my decisions and stuff like that. So yeah, Kane is obviously one of the options. And then someone else that I'm looking at is Bowen. I mean, for a 1-week punt, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. He's got Everton away. He seems to be on penalties as well. He did have a really good penalty in the European game in midweek. He played really well in that European game as well. Everton are terrible at the back. I think they've got a few injuries as well. I think Pickford might be out until after the international break. I heard somewhere Pickford's done like a shoulder or something like that. They've got a couple players out. And yeah, I just think that he could for a 1 week punt, I think it'll be quite an exciting player to have in my team. And then for the back, I think I just target like double Newcastle defense, just simply because a lot of people are going to be having Pope and Trippier on the wild card this week. And so to kind of combat that, I can just bring in like Shaw, and then I've got my double Newcastle defense. So if Newcastle do keep a clean sheet against Bournemouth, that a lot of people are going to have on their wild card, I already have that sorted. And then I still have my double City defense as well. My team is going to look really weird this week, but it could pay off. So yeah, I've got double City defense, double Newcastle defense, and that's going to be my back line. So these three are my back line, and then Edison. Midfield's going to be Martinelli, Reed, Bowen, and Andreas Pereira. And then my up front is going to be Jesus, Kane, and Haaland, which again, for a -4, technically a -2, it's not that bad. Like, it's actually okay. I still have 1.1 in the bank as well, but I honestly don't know who else I could probably bring in. So that's one kind of avenue I'm thinking of taking. And again, these are just 1 week punts. I'm just wild card players out that I don't want in game week 9. It's just kind of a bit of a luxury position to be in, to be fair. Another option I could do is bring in Son instead of Kane, and that'd be 11.7 mil, so that's fine, because obviously I've got the money for it. And then instead of Kane, bringing in Mitrovic. I did obviously have 3 Fulham players, but because I'm getting rid of Stansfield, I can bring in Mitrovic. And again, a lot of people are going to have Mitrovic on wildcards this week, and so that kind of combats that. And then I'll probably still bring in Shaw again anyway, just simply because of that Newcastle defense. So that's another avenue I could take. So I've got Mitrovic there, which obviously will combat everybody bringing him in on wildcard. I've got double Newcastle defense, which will combat everyone bringing that on wildcard. And then I have Son as well for a 1 week punt. Again, I'm going to wait to see who plays midweek and stuff for Spurs. But either way, that could be another way that I go. And instead of Kane, I go Son. But I don't know. I feel like Kane might do really well against Leicester, and I'm expecting him to like bag a brace or something. And Son just hasn't really been Son at this point. So yeah, I think that Kane is probably going to be the option I go. I want to watch the Forest games. I'm a Forest supporter, but that's going to be horrible because, you know, if that's the case where I don't have Mitrovic, you know, a lot will be on that game, because if Mitrovic does end up scoring a brace, it's going to just destroy my game week, unless obviously Kane gets a brace as well. But it's, you know, I think Leicester at home is going to be much easier for Spurs than obviously Forest away, because, you know, the City ground is a tough place to go to. We played really well against Spurs when they came to the City ground. We potentially could have got something from that game. And so against Fulham, we could actually get something from that game. So I don't know. I feel like Forest at home isn't as easy as a lot of people are expecting it to be. So yeah, I just go Bowen instead and just have a few more like differentials. So I could go this route and just have a differential team and completely go against template, really, and see what happens. Or I could just play a bit more safe and go Son and Mitrovic. But I like this a little bit more as like a 1 week punt. And then again, I can just wildcard everything out. So this is probably the direction I'm going to go. Again, I'll have to see what happens like Spurs midweek and stuff. If like Kulusevski doesn't start and stuff, then I could, you know, go Kulusevski and Kane instead of Bowen. But either way, that's what the team's going to be looking like roughly for game week 8. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But it's an interesting one. I know I did a wildcard draft yesterday. I'll do an updated one tomorrow, because obviously there's a lot of things that have gone on. But yeah, that's my team, I think, for game week 8. I think that's what I'm going to go with. But either way, that's everything for today's video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like down below. Let's try and hit 50 likes. Leave a comment. What's your team looking like? Your wildcard, and let me know. Subscribe if you're brand new. It's everything from me, though. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And until next time, peace.